We were sick again, so no, we ain't finished. Riding dirty radio, so crispy, y'all so sloppy. Answer to the street, so we know just what is needed. Keep it underground, staying down, cause we ain't greedy. This is where you find what is popping for the culture, where we keeping it on pressure. Stay away from all the vultures. No scavengers here, just keeping it real. Got it out the mud, but it's still so clear. So sit back, relax, and just let us lead you. If you're trolling for no reason, then we don't need you. It's Big XL, he can't be stopped. Riding dirty forever, the home of real hip hop. Ride dirty, tell me y'all can't harm me. I'm living fly in the sky with the stars. Ride dirty, ride dirty, ride dirty, ride dirty. Ride dirty, tell me y'all can't harm me. I'm living fly in the sky with the stars. Ride dirty, ride dirty, ride dirty, ride dirty.
What up, world? It's your boy Vic XL. This is the Ridin Dirty Show, where we bridge the gap between hip-hop and everyday life. We're definitely bringing the movers and the shakers and the people that are definitely moving, shaking, and cultivating our community, whether it's through arts, entertainment, literature, music, or however you're bringing a change to this culture, then we're definitely the platform for you to tell your story. All right, so the first thing I got to do is say one time for our sponsors, all right? One time for the good people over at Liquor Lollipops, and that's liquorlollipops.com. Liquor Lollipop is a premium hard candy designed to taste like your favorite alcoholic beverage. If you like sex on the beach, they got you. If you like gin and juice, they got you. If you like tequila sunrise, they got you, all right? Make sure you visit them at liquorlollipops.com. Find out more about this independently owned premium hard candy company, all right? I also got to say one time for the good people over at the I'm So Shirt Company, all right? They create shirts with you in mind for you to rep who you are and where you are and what you stand for. Make sure you visit them at the I'm So Shirt.com. All right, let's see what we got when it comes to celebrity birthdays. First, I gotta say happy birthday to one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. Happy birthday to my man Ric Flair. I gotta say my man has probably been mentioned more times than any other wrestler in the history of wrestling when it comes to hip-hop music. But Ric Flair turns a whopping 71 years old today, so definitely happy birthday to him. Also got to say happy birthday to my man Jay Critch. If you're not familiar with him, he's signed to the label Rich Forever, which is owned by Rich the Kid. He turns 23 years old today. So definitely happy birthday to my guy Jay Critch. Also got to say happy birthday to Duchess Lattimore. You might know her from the Black Ink crew. Duchess Lattimore turns 36 years old today. Definitely happy birthday to her. Also got to say happy birthday to NBA player, member of the Toronto Raptors, Mr. Fred Van Vliet. Fred Van Vliet turns 26 years old today. They just took an L tonight to the Milwaukee Bucks, but definitely happy birthday, Mr. Fred Van Vliet. Also got to say happy birthday to R&B singer Vito. Vito turns 27 years old today. Happy birthday to my man, former NBA player, Mr. Joakim Noah. Joakim Noah turns 35 years old today. As I move over to my Facebook list, I got to say happy birthday to my girl, Diverse. You might have heard her on the Duel, our daily song by our show, but definitely happy birthday to her. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have a very prestigious guest tonight, so I'm not going to do a lot of talking. We're going to skip the news. I gave you the sponsors, and I did give you celebrity birthdays. Now it's time for me to give you what I enjoy doing most, and that's giving you the people who are definitely doing their thing. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Ridin Dirty platform. Film producer, music producer, Mr. Raj Gupta. How you doing this evening, sir?
Oh, man, I'm blessed, man. Doing good, man.
All right, the first thing I got to ask, because, you know, I have that strong southern dialect. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, sir.
All
Just
right.
don't call me late for dinner.
All right, I will not do that. I will not do that. All right, so Mr. Gupta, first of all, let's get into it, and I gotta send my condolences. You are the grandson of a legendary actress. We all grew up on her, but let the world know who your grandmother was. And again, my condolences.
I appreciate it, brother. My grandmother is the Academy Award-winning legendary actress who played Willona on Good Times, Ja'Net DuBois, rest in peace. She was an icon. She also formulated and founded the Pan-African Film Festival. Danny Glover is a part of the movement. A lot of great African-American actors and filmmakers have come through that brand and gone on to greatness. So she's definitely missed. I'm getting calls from, celebrities, Janet Jackson, Snoop, different people sending their condolences via social media. However, they're just reaching out and letting me know that she was something special, especially to the African-American community, being that it is Black History Month.
Most definitely. Now, the first thing I got to say is when I was reading your bio, I definitely knew she played Willona, but I did not know that she created the theme song for the Jeffersons.
Yes, that is one of the mysteries of the world. Not only did she sing and play an actress on Good Times, but she penned that song for Moving On Up. And, it went on to be one of the most famous theme songs in our Black culture to this day.
Most definitely. And she will surely be missed, and we will continue to watch her forever and ever and a day, because Good Times will probably run to the test of time.
That's facts. She left a strong legacy. All I want to do is try to continue where she left off, especially in the film world. We had lots of plans. We were working on a film project at the time. We would do the Walk the Red Carpet at PAFF, which just ended this Sunday. If you're not familiar with it, you need to check it out. It's PAFF.org. They help African Americans build their opportunity to get into the film world. They teach you the game. And they also, encourage young people to get into film and music. So it's a great organization that she founded. A lot of people have gotten involved since then. Oprah, Danny Glover, the actor for Black Panther, on and on. Michael Blackson was there this year. Shaquille O'Neal spoke this year. Snoop spoke this year. So a lot of powerful heavy hitters were there on deck. I did a music and film panel. I was involved with that. But due to what happened, her untimely death, there are a lot of things that I didn't get to complete this year with the organization. But she will be missed. My son also is involved in the music, Chris Classics. He's a rapper. He did a tribute song with some, drops from her in the song. So it's a lot of things we got going on for the future, but we just want to keep it moving. Make sure she's celebrated properly. Her legacy is impeccable all the years. She died at a very, healthy age of 88, not what the tabloids say, 74. That's that Hollywood age stuff, but her real age was around 88.
All right, you know what? I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm on the PAFF.org website right now. And man, I gotta say that I'm highly impressed. Y'all have like 12 pages of films on here.
Yeah. Nick Cannon showed up. I mean, it's a powerful organization, man. People, if they don't know, they need to, be more aware of it. We support the Academy Awards, we support the BET, different other awards, but this is one of those things that is rooted in our culture. It's about us being empowered to bring film to life, to come across the screen. It's just a beautiful thing, man, and it teaches you about the culture of Africa. There's a lot. Babu is the one who heads the organization. My boy Mark is over there with marketing. Linda is over, the events. I mean, it's definitely something you should check out.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about your career. First of all, let's talk about your foray as a film producer. What are some of the things you've had opportunity to work on, and what are some of the things we can possibly expect from you?
Well, I've changed direction. Now, like I said, before she passed away, we were working on documentaries that I was filming in South Africa. One of them that we nearly completed is called King of the Pride. I had an opportunity to partner with a nonprofit called One Cat Foundation. And One Cat Foundation rescues endangered lions in the South African climate. So we have a bunch of lions that Claudia, one of the members, and Quentin, they have raised, and Jessica is our vice president. So we just expanded that nonprofit to the U.S., where we help enclosures at like safaris and zoos improve the living environment for those caged lions, because they need a certain amount of space and a certain type of environment to thrive and be healthy. So what we did is, because there's a situation going on in Africa with poaching and different things that are being done with lions, we're used to hearing about the elephants with the ivory, but now there's a militia set on killing lions. So we rescue those endangered species, and the documentary is about the climate of South Africa. The first one, King of the Pride, tells the story of Simba and some of the lions that we are in the process of purchasing, and their environment and what it's like. And what I did to add a spin on it is, I thought, from the youth perspective, as African Americans or culture, Hispanic, when we see a documentary, what we think in general is a documentary is you hear boring music with someone talking monotone. So my objective is, I reached out after attending the Grammys this year, because I work with the advisory committee for Florida for a time, and I reached out to some of the personalities in hip hop and got commitments for them to do the voiceover for the documentaries. So this is going to be unlike any documentary that you've ever seen, where it has a soundtrack full of hip hop artists, and the documentary is voiced over by hip hop artists and other personalities from the acting world.
Okay, no doubt.
So look forward to seeing King of the Pride coming up, and it'll probably be featured at next year's PAFF.
Okay. What made you choose that subject matter for a documentary?
Again, partnering with the cause of One Cat Foundation. When I met Claudia and Jessica, and we traveled to South Africa, and I saw the environment that the lions were in, and it never phantomed in my brain. We live here in America, and we don't see things from the other side of the world or the other perspective. As African Americans, you say we're from the culture of Africa, but it never phantomed in my mind, as I grew up around De La Soul, Prince Paul, Rakim, that I would ever be in a position to own a lion, or let's more meet one and see people playing with lions, laying down with them. I mean, it was fascinating. So it definitely caught my attention. That's something, if you grew up in the streets of New York or streets of Atlanta, wherever you're from, you could phantoming ever being in the same environment with a lion and not being devoured at that, and learning how the pride works, and how if they know you, that you're like family.
That's crazy. That's amazing. I also got to ask.
Man, it is.
That's amazing. At any point in time visiting South Africa, did you ever have any fear of these animals?
Man, I have, let's put it this way. Of course, I have the fear. I haven't been brave enough to lay down or hug on a lion yet. But just being in the vicinity and like, okay, I'm purchasing you, you're going to be my cub, is enough for me. You know, the cubs you can hold, you know, they're like kittens.
Right.
But the full-grown lion, watching Claudia and Jessica and Alex and Quentin work with them, the one cat group, man, it's just fascinating that these lions, I'll shoot you over a bunch of pictures. If you go to onecat.life, you'll see some of the pictures where Alex, the lion, is like licking his face, and Claudia is like laying down with the lion, and they're sucking on their fingers. It's just frightening, but at the same time, it's amazing to see that this is a reality, that, you know, God really has it where we could actually lay with the lion and not get bit.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, I have to ask, definitely growing up with a icon of a grandmother, what made you want to pursue the entertainment business other than following in those amazing footsteps?
Well, when I was a child, I would have the unique opportunity sometimes to go to the set when Janet Jackson was on there playing Penny and my grandmother was playing Willona. There was a gentleman named Lowell Silas who owned Silas Records. He would take, you know, people to go get ice cream and stuff like that. So I was around the environment, but my interest wasn't piqued. My father, who passed, as you see in some of the articles, at 36, he had a record company named Raj Records and Peanuts and Caviar, which is the label that the Moving On Up song was put out on. So my father would take me to the studio, and I'd meet Stevie Wonder and the Jacksons and different people as a kid, but I really didn't process that going back and forth from L.A. and Pasadena and going back to New York. I grew up in a strange area, you know, being in the city, Brooklyn, different places, but then going into Long Island and living in Long Island, a place called Amityville. Shout out to all my Amityvilleans who might be in the South. If I can explain this to you, it's like there was something in the water. I'm going to name some names. Corey Rooney. Corey Rooney is responsible for Mariah Carey. De La Soul, my classmates, Mace, Pasta Noose, they were my classmates. Prince Paul, classmates. Bismarck coming in the cafeteria when we had breaks and banging on the table and beatboxing, and we all in a cipher rhyming. Rakim, I mean, leaders of the new school, Busta Rhymes, Q-Tip riding on the hood of my car going to visit a girlfriend and wine dance. I mean, it was like hip-hop was on the native, like, movement was like in our culture. And then having Rakim and EPMD, Queen Latifah, I mean, it was like a small circle. Then even when Nas did his first video, Whose World Is This? In the video, there in Queensbridge. So it's like growing up in that culture and then being like a road manager for some, then they know I could sing. I met a dude, Everett Collins, who was in the group, who played for the group Surface. Then I met Pitt Conley. Then he hired me in his studio, and I worked with all sorts of legends from that aspect. Then got a record deal. I was 17, going on 18, with Arista Records, sitting in Clyde Davis' office. You know, then I met Babyface. On and on and on and on. It's like my career was like, even with, I did it all without my grandmother's help, but I arrived where I needed to be because of some of the things she did, gave me an education. Her and my father gave me the education to avoid certain steps and pitfalls. And I always was fascinated with the contract side of things because once I wrote a couple of songs and the publishing deals didn't go right, it's like, okay, now I need to get educated about this. And then starting a record label with 5 of my friends, brokering a deal with Will Smith to sell the group Trey Knott to Will Smith that did the Men in Black soundtrack, then putting the girls group ISIS, which included Megan Good's sister, Lamaya, and Megan Good was originally in the group, but her acting career took precedence over the singing. So, fostering a lot of careers, for different people, and then working at a major label in L.A. for a time during the Tupac segment, being around Snoop and all of them. It's like it was a surreal lifestyle,
Right.
Going from East Coast to West Coast, it was a surreal lifestyle because during that time it was East Coast, West Coast beef. And here I am at World on Wheels with Exhibit and other people around me and the Licks. And then I'm going back to New York and I'm hanging around Puff and Biggie and the whole movement out there, the native tongues and stuff. So it's like a surreal lifestyle. I tell people, I didn't experience the hatred. It was always love.
All right, now, what do you prefer? The music side of things or the film side of things?
Right now, to end my segment, because my son, Chris, has taken on some big shoes with his music, I prefer the film because of how I want to see my last 20 or 30 or 40 years, the legacy I want to develop. When you're responsible for putting out music that you think people have lost their life over because of the message, you get to a point where you say, okay, I'm grown now. How can I give back to my community? And always is education. So developing documentaries that show people the world is bigger than, an Atlanta, a New York, a Miami, a LA. It's bigger than these worlds and the small things that we reach out to achieve based on the people that we base our image of what we see life as. Mm-hmm. There's a bigger world out there. And if I can at least, give back, because I made money from the negative, now I want to make money off the positive and still put out good music and help my son and his crew of people do that with their Renegade Kings and Integrity Entertainment Group label. I still want to help them, but it's like film is where I want to focus on, telling the real life stories about things, documentaries.
All right. How do you feel about the state of black filmmaking right now?
Well, nothing against the Tyler Perrys, and I have nothing against that. But I think this is a great time for black filmmakers to make quality films. There is, with the Netflix movement, the Amazon Prime movement, there's a way to get out quality material from a black filmmaker's perspective, and that's why I encourage everybody to check out PAFF if you're pursuing film. It may help you open some doors and navigate some steps if you're interested in film. Like a lot of my classmates, and they the David Talbots of the world that I used to run into, and the different people that I know along the way. It's like they came through the gospel play segment, and I put my hand in that for a little while. Like I said, Tyler Perry type thing. But I found out I don't want my legacy to be based on slapstick humor. Mm-hmm. I want my legacy to be based on, he educated us. Now I want to become more of a motivational and educator through film and music, and advocate for recording artists like my grandmother. When she put out that song, Moving On Up, obviously in those days, Black people were not fully educated on how the business end works with music, especially in a different environment. Now we're talking television. So percentages that you normally now would get, they didn't get back then.
Ooh.
So if you say the Good Time song, the Moving On Up song made valued at $60 million, and a person is only getting 20% of that when they're the actual physical writer and performer of it, it's like, you're like, oh, that's a bag that was missing that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we're educated on it, but it's things like that. So being that I've been I was taught something by someone when I was signed to Arista. This is the story they told me. They said the ladder of success is like this. It's how you treat people on the way up that determines how fast your fall is. And because when you get to the top, when you descend, your ass is exposed.
I agree 100% with that.
So when they were telling me the story, I didn't know that they were going to teach me a lesson about it.
No doubt.
But you never despise the days of small beginnings when you get educated. Your lessons develop you into the person you are, who you later on become.
All right, so look, because we got to close it out. Tell me a little bit about your son and a little bit about this song that we're going to play.
All right, Chris Classic is in the building right now. Say what's up, Chris.
Yo, what's going on, man?
How you doing, Mr. Classic? Tell me a little bit about this record you got going on and the movement that you are about to take the world on.
All right, like you said, I'm gonna close it out for you. I'm gonna keep it short and simple. Basically, I was motivated, by the loss and just my family in general, man. Just watching them work hard every day, it was 90 seconds motivation for me because I want to see them have a good life too,
Right.
So I really just poured out. It became music became like a real outlet for me. So I poured out and I put all my energy into making a dedication and something that my family could connect with, and hopefully the world could too. And for the record, I did get into acting. I did a little something. I had a showcase out there with Helen Conan. Shout out to her. And I did a little bit on Paper Towns. I don't know if you heard about that. I was hanging out with the cast on that. Shout out to John. But also I was in did a little bit on Vice Principals. I was hanging out with Danny McBride and a few of the other cast members. Shout out to them. And yeah, man, to keep it simple, I love what I do, and I'm proud of my pops, man. I'm proud of my parents, seeing them grow, and I'm ready to see us take off, man.
All right. So look, I gotta ask you, and I gotta ask your pops. Is there any websites and social media that the world needs to know about so they can keep up with you guys' movements?
One Cat seconds. Life, onecatfoundation.org, rajgupta.com, social media, Ask Raj is my Twitter. That's about it.
You look me up on Instagram, Chris_Classic. Hopping back on there, I'm gonna be updating y'all on what's going on behind the scenes.
All right. So look, gentlemen, First of all, it was my pleasure to talk to you guys. Second of all, I again would like to send my condolences to you and your family. And I would love you guys to close out the show by you introducing this record to the world.
All right. This is Moving Up by Chris Classic and Raj Gupta, Renegade Kings.
All right, appreciate it.
Y'all see y'all move up too.
All right, y'all have a blessed night.
You too, sir.
Yes, sir. Be blessed, man.
Hi, Raj. This is Grandma. Will we come on?
Found a burner that would fix it. Put my family young, it's the mission. And greens don't burn in the kitchen, cause my grandma quit smoking for a minute. Charcoal, that's my brother on the grill. Borrow, couple stacks trying to get a meal. Pops been trying to grow us from the dirt, call it fertilize. Recognize when I'm up to bat, bases loaded like the chamber stirring on the Mac. And cheesing, got the fam posing for a reason. No cameras, please, when I'm spicy in the season. If you with us, then you eat, and you better believe it, cause we moving up, moving up, moving up, moving up to the east side. That beach rent luxury condo when you're living in the sky. We moving up, moving up, moving up, moving up to the east side. And we took the whole pizza pie. Luxury condo when you're living in the sky. Moving up, moving up, moving up, moving up to the east side. Took the whole pizza pie. Took the whole pizza pie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was film producer, music producer Raj Gupta and his son Chris Classic. The name of that joint was Moving Up. Y'all definitely stay aware and stay down with the movements of those two great men. All right? It's yours truly, Vic XL. This is the Ridin Durty Show, and we'll see you guys later. Y'all have a blessed night. Peace.